So guys, Mystery Motors again. We are back at it on the SunL 150. Today we're going to rewire it. We are going to put a new wiring harness on it to hopefully gain us full operation, of our controls, electric start, all that good stuff. There's no lights on the bike. Actually, there is lights, so maybe we'll get these lights working as well. But yeah, we're gonna get this cleaned off. We'll pull the cover off here. If you watched the last one, I mentioned this is just basically a shroud. You have to have these on the gy6 bikes because it's air cooled. So there's a fan here, pulls air, shoots it across the jug, and that's how you cool your bike. So if you take this off, thinking it looks tacky, whatever, you're probably gonna overheat and blow your motor. So but yeah, this thing fired right up, more or less. I stored it properly. So yeah, we're going to dive in, get this old wiring harness pulled off, put a new one on, and then another thing from the previous video is the carb. It idles almost perfect, but there's definitely something clogged up in there, because once you start to rev it up, and get off idle, it kind of starts to spit and sputter a little bit. So yeah, that's what's in store. So right here is our new wiring harness, Auto Hans, kind of the go-to for the China bikes. But a little photo. This is what we should have here. Yeah, and then that's essentially the wiring diagram. So if you need this, go ahead and pause that, because it's always nice to have a diagram. So alright guys, let's get this old wiring harness pulled off. Just a little peek with the tank off. Pretty much bare. I don't know if it's necessary. We need to take the front fairings off, because they're kind of, they're kind of worked in there, but we might. Yeah, because we've got it's like a little junction up here, little rubber junction area. So alright, let's pull these front fairing off. It looks like there's just a threaded bolt, on that top side portion we just saw, and it just kind of comes through and connects to the frame here. So even though it looks super durable, it holds up well enough, but it's definitely not heavy duty. There we go. So that's loose. Let me see. So we've got this 10 mil, another 10 mil on the other side. Looks like we've got a Phillips in the front that holds the red fairing on, and then two bolts up top that hold the top portion of this. Yeah, right here. Two of them there, and that holds on what I believe is the whole front fairing. So let's yank that off. We're living dangerously working here in the grass. Oh, we're starting to kind of come loose. Let's get this other bolt. So yeah, guys, we're just diving right in. Paying no mind to any. Oh, there's a fat spider right there. Yep, fat spider right by the face. That's what we want. At least it's not a juicy one. At least it's not a juicy spider. And then these two are 12s. So, oh, there's a spider web in the threads. Creepy. It looks like a little lock washer fell off of that. So, we'll set that to the side. other one. It is a 10. Cool. Good. There we go. Stop pushing those off. And it's actually kind of neat. There's a box. I wonder if this is like, I wonder if this is maybe where the air box is on the actual Grizzly. Because this is just a clone. Oh, I missed some screws. A 9? We are free. Okay, we got a little pile of hardware here. So what we'll do is we can show this. So it looks like this is kind of a double-sided rubber housing for the bulk of these connections, which is cool. So let's just start unplugging stuff. Yeah, spiders all around. So these two 3-prong blue, green, and whites are the headlights. So we'll zap those first. Pull these through, and these are properly worn. I wonder how old this bike is. This thing could be, shoot, it's probably 15 years at least. At least 15 years. That's only 2010. That's crazy. All right, so from here it looks like we have a safety switch. I'd assume that's this here. In fact, that is exactly what that is, because the safety switch is typically on the left-hand brake. So we have this here, and then this is for our actual. Oh no, what is this one? Oh, this is. Oh, that's interesting. It's a little. I think it's a gear indicator. That's super fun. I wonder if we have one of those on our new harness. Gear indicator, otherwise just pitch it, trash bin it. And then it looks like the last two cables here are for our hand switch. So let's pop these off. Cool. Again, this is, yeah, that safety switch there for the brake. To the side. Okay. In fact, I think this one has a switch on it too. Wonder where this goes. Into the harness as well. So this is a working bike, so I know this CDI box still good. So we'll hang on to it. That's looks like that's an old style CDI box. Again, this could be, who knows how old. Who knows how old of a bike. Okay, so I'm just gonna start popping zip ties here. Kind of work this harness out. Looks like our ignition coil's up here too. So yeah, ignition coil, and then so it looks like the cables for this are actually on the let me see if we can get a shot of that. Those cables, they just cinch in there, two little, you know, flat type connectors. So that's actually on the harness. So we'll see if that's on the new harness. Oh yeah, so that looks essentially identical to the one that we have on the bike. It's got the choke adjuster, which is very cool, and it looks like that might be, we got like a high and a low. That's cool. Classic. It looks like this might be an electronic, or no, it's not. It's like there's you put your cable up there, but our choke's right there on the carb, so we're gonna disregard that, just like they kind of disregarded this one. Actually, I take that back. They actually have the cable still on here, so we'll hang on to that. It's always nice to have extra parts. Kind of at least look at and confirm is that, yep, those are identical so far. So that's kind of, you know, not that it really matters because you can figure it out, but it's nice if your new wiring harness is the same as your old one, just for the sake of consistency, knowing that, hey, this is the right harness for this bike. We have our coil, which looks, how does that look? It looks different than the one that we have on there, but that shouldn't be a problem. We got an 8mm holding on our ground, which is essentially just bolted right onto the coil here through one of the mounting bolts. So we're going to pull that off. We're going to save at least one of these because our new coil only has one side. And then we have our, looks like our power, our main lead. This is typically always a black and yellow wire. So I think what we're going to have to do for this is just change the, you know what? Getting ahead of myself. We won't have to change anything because we're putting a new harness. So, but we will keep this old harness just in case we have issues. Slap this back on and try and figure it out. But here, if this will work. I don't know if that'll fit through there. That won't fit through there, but there is, looks like ample space. I think we'll mount it just like this, because that'll be pretty well protected in there, I feel. But I'll go ahead and put the other bolt in just to have it. Don't want to be losing bolts. They're pretty universal, so if you always need one, a little extra bolt holder here, super nice. Get that cinched down so it doesn't vibrate out. And then this, because we have this little cutout here, we're just gonna let our coil wire kind of just hang out in that little spot. And I think that'll be perfect. And I assume that's how it grounds itself to the body. Yeah, kind of wondering what this is going to look like when we pull this out. We'll pull that cover off, see what that looks like in there. Oh. Let's get in there. It's just a tough spot. Alright, she's on there. So that's the new coil there installed, just one side. And then you can see it there, kind of comes down, plugs right in. Looks good. Alright, let's get our new CDI. Guess we can put this in last. It just goes right up there. Got the new CDI, set that to the side. Next I think is our stator. And I'm trying to remember where the stator is on this bike. I don't think it's on this side. And it's not. It's on the other side. So we're gonna pull that shroud off, check out the stator, put that new one on. Alright, we've got our shroud. So it looks like with this, there's just a couple of Phillips heads, or these are probably 6 or 7 millimeter if you wanted to use a socket. So we'll just pull those off. And there's one at the top here. And this one looks like it just holds on a little bracket that kind of keeps the wiring in check. So this will be a good time to get this whole front area cleaned up and everything else. A little compressed air, blow this out. Moment of truth here, guys. There's probably another one underneath. There is. It's like another 8 mil down here. You know, I don't know if I've ever had the side cover off. I don't think I ever really did much to this bike. It just worked. Maybe I cleaned the carb. But yeah, this one's always been a fairly reliable runner. Just want to get the electric situated and all that working, because that's super nice when all that stuff's working. So, that's easier. Okay, so it looks like. Yep. See, guys, this is one of the major issues with these bikes. If you let them sit, like this is a serious one here. Look at that nest. Huge nest. Crazy nest. There we have it. So this is the fan. As I mentioned, you can kind of see in there, maybe not. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see the fins of the jug. So if this is clogged, you're not going to get any airflow, because this, forces air through this channel across the jug, and that's what cools you off. So if we would have run it for any amount of time, especially in the summer heat, we would have had some issues for sure, because this would not have been cooling properly. Probably would have started acting up, not liking what we're giving it. So but anyway, let's see here. I have a feeling we might have to pull this flywheel off, and to be honest, that's something I'm not necessarily too keen on. I mean, we can do it, but let's just see here, because I know I've done these bikes, but this is the first one that I've done with gears, and it's a Linglong. Let's say Linglong right there. So we'll see. but I have a feeling this flywheel here would have to be pulled off to to get to that stator. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be up for that right now. Let me take a peek at the connections for the stator, because again, this is a working bike. All right, so looking at it, I think we will need to pull this off, but again, you know, getting by, doing it cheaply, affordably, with minimal effort, if you will. The stator's still good. You know, it did charge the battery when we had it on here. So, and this is the same connection, same sort of stator that I have. So we're gonna keep that new stator, roll with this one, put the new harness on, and see how it goes. See how it goes, guys. But I think we might be good here. I know, I'm just kind of looking. You know what? I wonder if this isn't a sensor that kind of shows the position of the gears. It looks like there's a little sensor goes into the transmission case there. That's interesting. Yeah, that's something we probably won't be messing with unless the new harness has, you know, a plug for it, and we can utilize the you know, the thing that's on the front there, the gear selector, whatever you want to call it. But that bushing might be a little rough there, so we'll leave this off for now. We're going to come back to this because I do want to pull a little bit more of this off, and I think we'll do that. I want to take the carb off and get that cleaned up. That's another thing that we're going to be doing here. So for now, I'm going to put the fan back on, and we'll keep swapping out this this wiring harness. I wonder if the issue we were having with it spitting as you revved it, I wonder if that has anything to do with the cooling system being clogged. Couldn't imagine it does, because it's not, you know, it's kind of a passive system being air cooled. But, you know, just a thought. Alright guys, working down the line. So, the best way we can even salvage this. Oh. This might be one with the old setup. Unhook that safety switch. I don't think any of the safety switches worked on this. Not that you really, you know, need them, but it's always nice when you have it working as it did from the factory. So we'll just keep feeding this off. Try and keep this as one full unit. So this is the stator plug. Literally almost the same style connectors and everything. Let's do this. Might be a good time just to pull this carb off. You don't even have a place to put it. We'll just keep going one step at a time. Get that out of there. Aftermarket. Okay, so this is our, so this lead we will leave because this is our power for our starter. Comes off of our solenoid and goes to our starter there. So So this is on the, oh no, we just lost a battery nut, a battery screw. So, okay. Let me see. Let's pull out our new relay. Our new relay has the exact same connector as our old one. So it's always reassuring when your, you know, aftermarket Chinese wiring harness matches your factory Chinese wiring harness. Ugh, those are 10 mils. Ye old 10 mil. And with this, I like to try and put this back exactly as I pulled it off. So we'll do the starter cable, the same. Oh, we just lost another washer. Tell you what, man, this is be a fun game. You know, just work on your stuff out in the field and see how much hardware you can actually put back on it. Good luck. Good luck. Even though I guess we don't even know, we got new nuts on the. I don't even know what I'm on about here. We'll unplug this from the old harness. Yeah, this old harness is just, I don't think I've ever seen a harness look as beat up as this. This, the connectors. So this bike, I mean, whoever had this bike, they were enjoying this thing. Cinch that starter lead on there, and like I said, I like to put it back exactly how we got it, so I'm just gonna replace this little spot. Get her on there, get her on there, come on, come on. Mint. Look at that, guys. It's a factory. This is a factory setting. Love it. So, pull that off. Like this. So it could have very well been our relay that wasn't allowing, you know, any of our stuff to work, because. But then again, I'm not too sure. It only worked when we jumped it, so that kind of tells me maybe something just wasn't switching right. I don't know. It's a little beyond my pay grade, guys. Professional part swapper here. Okay. So this is our positive. Looks like, ooh, we're looped around. You know what? Just realized this is the airbox. This is the original airbox. How cool. We might try and keep that, or reinstate that, if you will. I love a good functional OEM piece. Original, overnight from China. Let's see here. Yeah, at the very least, we'll just get a few extra pieces of hardware here. So this looks like we've got 3. I feel like the cheaper the bikes, the more hardware you have. You just got to hold it from the other side. But then again, yeah, I don't really know. But I'd like to think the nicer bikes actually have their nuts tack welded onto the frame, so you don't have to, you know, maneuver. I've worked on a couple Suzukis, but to be honest, I can't recall. Oh some of the smaller Chinese bikes, they have like the hardware kind of welded to the frame here and there, so you just got to screw it on and off. But nice. No, it's coming out this way. Coming out that way? Yeah, it is. Wow, custom. Okay, so we have this lead and this lead. So this is our stator. Okay. And then this comes all the way to the back for the brakes, or the brake lights, rather. So let's yank this up. So this is actually a bend over metal tab. Let's see if we can pop that, pull this through, and we will feed this all back through, even if it's not really, And then, just realized I did one step too much. We don't want this. We do not want that one. This is old wire. And then very last thing, okay. This has got to be the selection for our gear plug. So it'll be interesting to see if we have that. They're like all white wires. And then very last thing is the ground. Looks like we've got a ground right there. And that comes up for our negative battery. So I wonder, well, technically our new harness should have that. Should have a ground of its own. And that looks like an 8mm. Tens and eights. 8s and 10s. There we go. Super nice. Super nice. Alright, here we go. And there's one of those threaded through nuts. A little corroded. Just a little corroded. Those are some thin. Look at that. Look at how thin those are. Those are like razor blades. Worn out.
What?
We got it off, dude.
Wait. What did you get?
We got it all off. We're gonna start putting on the yep.
You took this off?
We took it off, dude.
And you took this off?
Yep.
I took this off.
Took it off, man. Parts. Put that on last, I guess. And then what else do we have here? What is this? Oh, this is a rectifier, which, you know what? I don't think I even saw on this bike. It doesn't. I don't see a rectifier on this thing. So we've got one for our new harness, but that's kind of strange. Interesting. And then, you know what? Another thing we don't have, I'm just now noticing, is a key. But that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, we've got a few extra keys laying around by now, unless it's in here. No key. No key in the new wiring harness. This is the new loom here. So we want to figure out where is our rear and where is our front, and I'm going to say it looks like, interesting. I'm going to say this has got to be the rear because this is where we've got the ground wire, we have our terminals for the batteries. It looks like these are rear brake lights, or that rear switch rather. Yeah, so it looks like we do have those connections, I think, for the let me see, for the brake switch handle up there. So yeah, let's get this wired up, make sure it starts, runs, and we'll go from there. Rather, which it is, yep. Rectifier, pretty self-explanatory, guys. Once you start putting it back together, you know, you could even match up the wires coming off of them. But in fact, now that I mention that, those don't match. So let me just take a second, take a peek, and make sure there's no other. Yeah, it looks like it. So this would be the only one for that rectifier. So sometimes that's how it is. Yeah, it's the first thing. I mean, plug the rectifier in. Boom. We've got a battery here too. Go ahead and drop in. Cool. So right now we've got our ground here as well. So right now the really the only goal is just getting this thing running, and then we'll go back and make it look pretty. Tidy it up, you know, everything else. Get it buttoned up, as they say. Yep, so we've got the ground right here. Basically bolts onto the very back of the engine block. Very back. Tighten that down. So we are grounded there. We have our negative cable for the battery. We have our positive cable for the battery with our fuse. We have our rectifier plugged in, which it looks like, is that a spot for the rectifier? I think this is where the rectifier goes, guys. Right here. Got the rectifier plugged in, and it looks like right now the next in line is the CDI, or not the CDI, I'm sorry, the stator. And that's the downside about our stator, is it's not this one. It's this one right here. So you have yellow, white, and green. Only goes together one way. Cinch that up. And then you also have these two wires here. One's red and black, and the other is blue and white. Stator's hooked up. What else do we have here? So this is our, it's that one. It's that one right there. Let's see. Looks like maybe we lost a nut, guys. Who knows? Who knows where it went? Luckily, we got backups. Okay, so cool. So right here we have our lead coming from the relay to the starter, and then the other side of the relay going to the power cable, which goes straight to the battery. So yeah, that should complete that circuit, and then turn the starter over and fire us up. Which I just found a new nut. Move that to the side. Looks like we maybe have another ground. Actually, now that I'm seeing this, I want to say this is for our, yeah, this is for our coil. So you have the black and yellow, and then the green for the ground. So, which is kind of funny because it gives us this different style coil. Kind of has a plug style ground, but we don't have a plug style for our ground. So we'll just bolt it. We'll just bolt that ground straight to the to where the coil mounts. So okay. So the only issue with that is kind of a ways up there, and I wonder. I mean, we probably could relocate that if we were so inclined, but looking at it, guys, I think the easier way to do it would just be to snip the harness a little. Alright, so this is our harness. All we want to do is just kind of trim this back a little. Make sure we don't get any cords up in there, any wires. And then this, yeah, that's all we need. In fact, we could probably just get away with pulling this coil wire out and retaping this back up, because we don't want it to be messy. Not that it's not already kind of a freaking mess. So pretty much everything on the back side's hooked up here. We've got our new CDI box here. So for this one, very self-explanatory. These have some cool, like, waterproof connectors to them. Whether they're waterproof or not, who knows? But self-explanatory as far as installing that goes. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be a real cozy setup for our harness here. I'll put this in its little sleeve, just so it can hang out there. Okay, and then really from the front, I mean, we have, yeah, this is kind of a very short setup for our wiring here. This is all weird, but let's see. Is there anything else back here that we missed? Yeah, nothing there. Nothing back here. This is what you get sometimes, guys. You just got a wiring harness that is kind of weird size. These have got to be actually, one of these might be for like an electric choke. That I'm thinking about it, because these two are both. Those are the headlights. Actually, these could be the kill switches. I assume that might be what we're looking at here. And this might be another one, because these are the same, looks like the same, more or less. So, and then those should be good. So headlight, and then this is the only thing, oh, I know what this is. That's the key. Alright guys, backup key here. At this point, I think all we need to do is get the battery hooked up and see if we did it. are gonna have to cross these wires up here. These two, these are the you know, kind of the fail-safe, but I don't know if we're gonna really need that, to be honest. I mean, and these run way up here. I don't know why they run so far up there. We'll save these little pieces of hardware though. Fun. Yeah, so the bike won't initiate, you know, won't let you start it unless the circuit's complete here, and that's what happens when you pull the brake. But now, there we go, we're good there. Let's turn it over. Let's see if it will start. Let's give her some gas here. Fuel that side. Crank it on. There we go. There we go. We might get fuel. Let's see. CDI. We got that hooked up. What I'm thinking now. Yeah. What I'm thinking now is maybe we just don't have a spark. So it's an NGK, looks like it, versus the, you know, the China. So let's see if this NGK, I kind of know the answer because it should have started, but just running down the list. Nothing. Now I'm wondering if it's a grounding issue now. We're just not grounded at the coil. So let's see. So now we're gonna bring the old coil back in, mount it, and hope that this fixes our issue. Nice, guys, we got good spark on that. Alright guys, I think we should have ground through this exhaust pipe here, but let's see. Good spark there. So it, you know, I assume, I would hope that new coil isn't faulty, but you never really know with these kind of Chinese brands and everything else. But threw the old coil back on, grounded it good, you know, because I think the old one just grounded through the frame on the, you know, either side there. So I want to say that had to be the issue that we had. If not, then the new coil is faulty, but you never know. It's kind of a crapshoot, I feel. Alright, we're solid in there, NGK. Alright guys, I'm confident that this thing is gonna fire up now, and we're gonna fire up with our hand here. Oh yeah, and it works. Look at that. Hold on. Oh, maybe not. Got too excited too soon. There we go. Idle's nice, which it did before. There you can see the fan working. go. It's always nice. So right now we are looking good. We're gonna get this wiring harness buttoned up here, tucked in, zip tied up, tucked away, and then we're gonna pull that carb off. All right, so we've got the wiring harness on. Camera died, so we had to kind of, make do, but wiring harness is on. We are working. We have spark, we run. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the carb off and we're gonna clean that carb real good, put it back on, and we should be running perfectly. Intake. It looks like this is it's pretty flat. Looks like we've got a O-ring there as well. Very common on these. But that intake looks granted, I've never really seen an intake like this on gy6, but the intake appears like it might be like ground open more at the opening. It's a very big opening, but yeah, not sure. Could be a performance part, who knows. Let's get this carb cleaned. We're going old school here, out in the grass, out in the yard. So this is KF Standard Japan PZ27. So this is actually a decent sized carb. Yeah, I mean that's a good sized opening there, which is funny because this I haven't really seen this style on the gy6 yet. Typically it's the I think they use diaphragms, the other style that I've seen, but we're gonna have some gas come out. It's funny because on this bike's so big that this carb looked super small, but evidently it's not so much the carb being small as the bike just being massive. So, because this is a pretty big bike, this is like a full-size Grizzly clone, so it's a big one. It's just not as thick as the actual Grizzly, but let's see here. Yeah, it looks really clean. I mean, to be expected. This is I stored it proper, so I drained all the fuel out of it, ran it out of gas rather, but yeah, let's pull this apart with this. Where are we at? Grab my pick. With this, there's a rod here. Just pop it out. That's what holds your float in, and your float is what controls the flow of fuel. You got your needle there, floats up and down and allows fuel to get into the system here. We got a few jets, so it looks like we have two separate jets here, another and then another. So yeah, that was a little loose, looks like it. So this is looks like our emulsifier tube, and I assume that on the end there's an actual pilot jet, and that says, does it say 94, 84 for the top one there? Yeah, so that's what we're looking like. I don't know if you can barely see through there, so that very well could be our issue. So we're gonna hit it with a little brake clean. There we go, come back through. A little compressed air. And oh my gosh. Yeah, it's tough to kind of see, but that looks like it blew it straight out. That's fully clear now. That's actually a pretty large opening. I know the other things those emulsifier tubes look pretty clogged up. I don't think I can really see through any of them. Maybe I can. Maybe I can, but let me see if I can find a... I'm just gonna work in each one of these little orifices here, each one of these pickups. Stick them in there, work it around. That little one there actually looks pretty clogged up. A little one of these there. Let's see. Get a good shot on that. That looks pretty good. Pretty clear, guys. I'd say that jet's good. Let's take this other one out. See how this is looking. I'd assume some of these are pretty clear, just based on the fact that it would actually idle. It's kind of tough to see. Hopefully that's able to focus. There's nothing. You can hardly see anything through that. Let's see what a little brake clean and compressed air does for us. Pro tip, whenever you're doing this, whenever you're cleaning a carb, make sure you have your PPE on. You want to make sure you've got some good protective eyewear at the very least. You know, obviously I'm not using any gloves, but you know, I'll leave that one up to you. But definitely find yourself some good glasses, because last thing you want is to go to spray some brake clean or carb cleaner and it, you know, it comes back at you. Never fun. Kind of tough to tell. Hopefully we're able to focus on that and see. But we have a small opening through there, small clear opening now, nice and clean. We'll do it one more spritz of some brake clean. That's solid. Very good. Last bit with that compressed air. Love it. And we've got one more jet to pull out. And then we'll clean the actual carb itself. Unfortunately, I don't have, you know, an ultrasonic cleaner for parts. I have one I use for jewelry and watches and such, but not one that I would use for this. And you know what? Looks like that might have been an air fuel screw, which is fine. In fact, is that on the, yeah, that's on the outside of the, interesting. That might give us some problems. Should have paid more attention to that, but generally I think air fuels, you know, oh my god, that was a huge difference. I don't know if you can see down through there if that's focusing or not, but that air fuel is super clear now. That was pretty gunked up before, so you can see the air fuel mixture screw head, you know, kind of comes through that side there. So cool. We'll let's pop the fuel line off and we'll just start spraying this carb down. In there, nice and set. Cool guys. I think we are looking fantastic right now. Got a plastic float. Float looks good. We'll clean this off. Our needle. Yeah, nothing in that float. I mean, it's one of the nice things about plastic parts on these carbs is, you know, just potentially less corrosion. right now, guys, I think we are almost put together. Feed that back through there. Good to go. Bada bing. Let's see here. We'll take our bowl. No new no new gasket there, so hopefully that doesn't come back to haunt us. It's a leaky carb, but we'll see. So go down a little bit, and then go through, and you're fine taking. So we'll see. Down here. Set it down. You know, got that air-fuel ratio together, but yeah, if you're curious, this is the choke linkage here. I don't know if this used to do something. I don't know. Now that I'm seeing it, it's like we maybe have, or no, this has got to be, that's for the, that's your idle. That's what that is. So we'll leave that there. I don't think we need to really mess with that so much. All that really does is, I believe, raise and lower the slide in the carb. So, and it was idling pretty good. Alright, we've got our spacer, which our spacer goes O-ring in. And then we have the O-ring on the carburetor here. Let that chill there for a sec. Alright, so O-ring, bolts, out there. Let's get them threads going. Beautiful. And again, guys, this is one, you know, just like that gasket, you're going to want to tighten them kind of lightly as you go. Don't just wrench one side down and hope for the best. Alright. Put that in there, very good. We've got the old 10 mil and 8 mil here. I'm going to center down a little bit there. We'll do a little bit there. Alright, snug her down. Shouldn't really need to be overly tight on this. Just snug it. Snug. Alright guys, let's feed our needle and so on back down in there. And there is only one way this will go back down on either side of this. Yeah, there we go. There's like notches on the slide. So one of these is for your air fuel. Actually, yeah, that's kind of a neat looking at how your air fuel, or not your air fuel, I'm sorry, your idle. So the idle, as that comes in, I don't know if you can tell, it's slanted there. So when that comes in, it pushes in and it slowly will push in and raise this up. So you get, you know, essentially more air in there and a higher idle speed. So, but you're gonna have this on one side, this on the other. This is just kind of a guide. But you can look down in there and figure it out, but typically they're on either side, you know, lateral side of the carb. That's how that's going to be oriented. Screw that back down. Beautiful. Sounds like we're working here. Let's get some fuel hooked up to it and see what it does. taparoo maybe. What's up with that? Good deal. I'd say for today, I think that's a pretty good bit of progress. So really all I need to do, I'm gonna pull that off. I'm gonna look it up, see if I could figure out which way I need to go with that air fuel screw, because it revs all the way out. It's just when you're at idle and you punch it, it just kind of dies. So I feel like, you know, we could dial that in with the air fuel, but otherwise, new wiring harness, clean carb, revs all the way up, sounds great. Everything works. I'm excited on the next one. We'll see if the wherever it went over there, the fairing, we'll see if that has if the lights work, because that'll be big fun if the headlights work. Always fun having some cool lights. But otherwise, thanks for joining us here. You know, like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.